Hey guys, uh, welcome back to another stream here at TrinFx. Mm. So as always, let me know if you guys are hearing me clearly. Really do appreciate it. Just let me know if I'm being heard clearly. Thank you very much, and thank you guys for joining my stream. Kind of a last minute stream that we're pulling in here for the London session. I was contemplating whether or not to actually do this because things last week have been pretty slow for the duration of the London session, where we do look for trade setups, and the market has been moving sort of sideways, unpredictable, so to say. With that being said, though, I do expect better market conditions moving for the rest of this week. We do have a lot of fundamental data coming out, which is something we'll take a look at as well right now. And yeah, so we should see some good movements out of the markets. Particularly what I'm looking at for this week is the euro, and obviously as we continue trading each day, the GP JPY cross pair here. So yeah, that being said, we're just going to dive straight into it, looking for some trade setups for the London session approaching. And one trade that we are already in, those in the VIP group would have been in, is this GP JPY sell. This was a trade that I called out. You could just take a look here. Just go to the VIP section. Right, so yeah, I called this out here. Right, put in sell stop right around that area as price pushed up, and we had a relatively tight stop, right? And price gradually pushed up on us, and I know a lot of people at that point would have been like, this is going to be a buy, price is going to continue driving up. Just lo and behold, price actually dropped. We got triggered in as price continued dropping down, and you see we hit 2.5% like immediately on this candle. Price pulled back a little bit, but I'm looking to see a continuation lower. Let us see price actually continue lower a little bit here for the duration of today. Hopefully we could get that once we do break below these levels here, this being the next targeted level here that we're looking at, and potentially all the way back down into this level here, right, where price could possibly reach at. So yeah, this is what we're looking up in terms of the trade setups. All right, nicely. I'm being heard fine. Right. Okay. So I'm just taking a look at the fall. Right. I won't go all the way to the daily markets. Have been moving kind of sideways. It's relatively the same story on all the currency pairs, right? So daily, not really much to give us. Not really much information we could gather from this. Maybe we could say that we are in sort of a range situation here in the overall. Yeah, just range in. Prices just range in. So we're looking at the current price action movement here on the daily time frame. We could say possibly we are in sort of a range, right? So price reached this high here, hit resistance. Maybe we might see a cool back all the way back down here, possibly, right? And we'll look to see if we have any fundamental data actually supporting that as a bias, right? Looking here at the 4-hour, basically same story, right? Price has been moving sideways gradually. We started going up here, break low, right, and then price has just been bouncing back and forth between that area. This would have been last week, where price action wasn't really the best for day traders, well, for me in particular, as well as I guess it would be like more of a situation for scalpers and yeah, those who hold trades short term. All right, so take a look here on the 1-hour time frame, what we could expect to see as a possible play. Overall, still very looking to see price move on the downside, right? I'm still very bearish on this right now. As we see price pull back a little bit here, what I would like to see is price close below this area for that continuation even lower, right? This being the next targeted level I'm looking at. So let's just take a position here, something like this. This being the overall trade I'm looking at, and I'll actually move this lower, right? So something like this. If we let's pull this low. If we see price break below this area here, right, we should see a gradual continuation, right? Adjusting this a little bit higher, right above here, right? We should see a continuation lower. As we saw, price tried to push up here. We had this bearish candle engulfing this bullish push above this resistance zone, and gradually we saw price continuing that fall. Now this is the next targeted area that I'm looking at to possibly enter another long position on this trade, right? And furthermore, we could extend that first initial trade that we had from within the VIP even lower, hitting all the way for like a 6%, which would be great. All right. But this is the trade setup. Put simply, looking for price to close below this area of support, right? We can see that we had a rejection from here very strongly, and this candle push that we had recently, right, during this morning, we saw price come into that area, reject strongly, and now we're seeing it trying its earnest to actually push below this area, right? So if we do get that close, we should see a continuation with momentum, right? If price does manage to come back up, because sometimes that happens with price action, I would look to put a second position on this, right? Just because overall, I think we could see that continuation to the downside. It looks like the more probable play, right? This being the first area we're taking a look at to possibly take out some profits, and then we're targeting the lower support, the main support area here. So that is the trade that I'm looking at, guys. Let me just type it out here. All right. $160.33. Stop loss is approximately 15 pips. $160.421. Sorry, 160.470. Sorry. And this is trade here. This is what we're looking to enter on. If price does pull up above this area here, then I'll look to re-enter right at that same position for that continuation lower, right? So this is the trade setup we're looking at. Hopefully that's clear on what I'm looking at. And also, guys, feel free, leave a like on the stream. Really helps on the channel, helps me reach further towards the traders community, people who are interested in trading, and maybe they might find this useful, educational, as you guys do, right? So share the wealth, share the knowledge. Yeah, so let's take a look at the other markets and see what's going on, right? Again, something I'm very fond of and looking to actually possibly get a play in is the euro cross pairs. Now let me just reset this chart. Why specifically the euro, right? So if we take a look at the fundamentals that we have coming up, let me just sign in here. You guys constantly see all my emails. I have a ton. Sorry. Right. So coming up, I believe it's Wednesday. If I'm not mistaken, we have some euro news too. So we have GDP growth for the euro area, right? This being the more important thing here, rather than all these other news that I see here for the euro. These are different countries that make up the European Union, basically, right? So your area data is like the more important thing that you need to look at, instead of like the individual data from each country. Yeah, so that being said, we have the unemployment, and we have the GDP. So this being the first, I believe we have unemployment, and we have CPI, right? So we have unemployment. This is the Wednesday. And we have CPI as well, right? So CPI expected to be a little less than the previous. We'll see how that comes out on the consensus. And we also have the inflation rate news for the euro area, right? Looking to see it actually come down, meaning that's good, relatively good. Seeing inflation come down is good, but that may have a negative sort of impact on the markets for the euro itself, because that means a slowing in the economy, right? So markets may take that as a negative outlook. So we could possibly sell this euro cross pair, right? Looking to see a bearish movement on the euro dollar, because of that possibility that this may mean sort of a slowdown in the economy's growth even if it's temporarily, and fears of recession as well as inflation is coming back down, right? So we need to pay attention at that. Looking at the GDP numbers that we would get will show us how consumer spending is going, right? And it will give us an indication of what we could expect for the CPI numbers, as well as these other numbers here for the inflation rate, whether it comes out the same or even a little bit less, or yeah, for the CPI as well, right? So the first set of news that we need to pay attention to is that GDP growth number, right? We'll see how much by percentage the increase is, if it increases at all, and that should also have an impact on the euro dollar itself too. To the downside again, because as we see, we're expecting GDP to be a little bit on the low side, right? So that should have a negative effect on the dollar for the euro dollar itself, right? So looking at these overall downtrend here on your AED, and again we have some bullish fundamentals back in for the AED as well. So I'll be more keen to enter on this as it gives us like a clearer direction. We have more catalyst acting on the currency pairs here, which could continue driving price even lower, right? Looking at the daily time frame, something that you want to target is these supportive level right here. And if we actually look to go lower, we'll target probably the resistance areas right here, right? So taking a look at the 4 hour, not much in terms of the price action movement. Okay, here in 1 hour, gradually you want to see price continue moving down. Overall, very strong downtrend. You can see that clear, nice levels. Next possible area we're looking to see price break through is here at the supportive area. So if we see price break, we could see more of a likely continuation even lower, right? So that is something that you could pay attention to and pay mind to. A possible trade here on your AED, something to take a look at. Once we do see that GDP number, we should know how to trade this, right? Overall, the trend is strong to the downside, so we're just looking for key areas we could enter. If price pulls down and break this level, that's great. But if it actually pushes up, as you know, markets have a weird tendency to do things like that. If price does push up, then we can look for continuations of that sell bias initially, right? So right here will be an entry point, and even higher right here as well, because you can see as price gradually break these levels, they form those lower lows, lower highs, right, gradually, and we can now use this as areas where if price does come back up, to possibly see some sort of rejection and continuation to the downside, right? Again, sellers are more in control of this, so we want to take advantage of that if we do see price actually push up. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense, right? If anybody have any questions, feel free to ask. But if not, yeah, I hope you understand what I'm saying thus far. Yeah, and please just feel free to leave that like. Leave that like. Every like counts, guys. It will help me pay my light bills and internet bills and whatnot to keep these streams going. All right. Yeah, same story on everything right now. I wouldn't particularly look to enter in the EuroCAD or the USD cross pairs just because a lot of fundamental factors just making it unclear. So following the price action itself, while for some, it will work out well or whatever the case is, I just don't see it being as a risk worth taken right now, just because it doesn't align. So it's like guesswork at that point, right? So sort of like a gambling aspect. For some it may work, for some it don't. I rather just stay out. So EuroCAD, USD, any of the USD cross pairs, CAD cross pairs, I don't really think I'll be trading that like that. Just because I don't like the movements from them, right? Let me take a look at some of the stuff coming up. We have retail sales for the AD. We have unemployment numbers for the JPY. Right, so retail sales, something that actually impacts price for the AED. Looking here at the consensus, expecting a -1 from the previous being 1.4%. So with that being said, something that we could possibly see as well. Right, actually we could possibly see that before before we see the euro take a dive, we could see this actually take a dive first, right? So looking at looking at the euro AD, right? Coming out to that news, we could actually see the euro push higher, right? So note that I'm saying this, right? I will see what price does. I think it is a likelihood that price is going to push up first, and then we'll see it start to gradually fall, right? Just given the news catalyst that we do have here, expecting for the retail sales number to be -1 compared to the previous being 1.4%. That's yeah, that may have a pretty bad impact on the markets, right? Anything else? There's the GDP growth numbers. We have some unemployment stuff for the USD. And for the card, excuse me, and for the card we have GDP numbers, right? So yeah, we'll see how this actually comes out as well. Not much. We have NZD, unemployment change, and also employment rate, right? That's coming later down on Tuesday at I believe that's like 5:45 or something like that, right? So we'll see how that actually plays out. Besides that, not much really going on. We could only just wait and see what the markets do, right? But you're really seeing a higher chance of it actually spike up rather than it just gradually falling down. But if we do break this area, then I'll just continue looking for that fall going forward, right? Because yeah, overall it just makes more logical to actually see that continuation to the downside. Let's take a look at this. Reset. Alright, so we see price gradually pushing down here on the GBP JPY. So we might get at entry point as markets open. We might see price actually push down even lower. So that's something to pay attention to. Other than that, yeah, it's a waiting game. We'll see what price decides to do. Alright guys, so I think that's it for me. I don't want to keep you guys here too long. You know, we get into the setups, we get into what we're looking at, we get into what we're doing, and then we just cut it off. I don't want to keep you guys too long here. And I've been up since yesterday, so I'm very much tired. I would like to sleep as well. So yeah, we're just gonna see what price does here. You guys have my take on the next trade I'll take here on your AD. Either it pops up, I'll look to sell it, or if it breaks this low here, we could see a continuation lower, right? So that's about it. So hopefully you guys understand. Hopefully you got it, was able to take away something from it. Oh, there's an echo. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's like the areas or like a position myself. I don't know. I'll have to listen back to it and see if I could resolve that issue. All right, so that's it for now. Yeah, we're just gonna wait and see what price decides to do here. If we're gonna get that sell off all the way down here, and so forth. Yeah, so that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for joining the stream. Really do appreciate it. You guys waking up this hour in the morning, whatever time it is for you guys, to join in here. I'm going to try to start back managing to do, you know, the London sessions, 9:30 a.m. streams. But moving forward, it's an uncertainty right now, right? So yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining. Please feel free to leave a like, subscribe to get future updates about anytime I post as well, and feel free to watch all the repertoire videos that we have here on the TrinFx channel to help you understand the markets a little better if you are new. So thank you very much for joining me. See you next one. Thank you guys. Peace.